Ask the Mayor. Your chance to ask the Mayor of Weymouth, Bob Hedlund, questions about the town of Weymouth and or anything else that you have concerns about. Ask the Mayor is pre-recorded. And now, here's Bob Hedlund.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Ask the Mayor. My name's Jim Melody. I'm the citizen advocate. I'm perpetually reminded. And with me, as always, is Mayor Robert Hedlund. Bob enjoying the middle of his second year in his first term as a mayor of Weymouth. I've called you the mayor of Boston before, too. Thanks to everybody, of course, for tuning in. We got another load of questions to ask the mayor. Springtime's coming around, and the weather's warm, and the questions are hot, Mayor. You want to get right into it?
We were on a roll. I think last taping we had some of the best, line of questioning we've gotten, and best quantity of questions have come in. So
we're going deep.
It must be as a result of that ratings spike that we've experienced here in WETC.
I think we're up to a .001 last time I checked the Nielsen's.
Well, if they would put me back on prime time, I noticed for the last couple months they've been running us early in the morning. I don't know who flips on WTC early in the morning.
That's how I start my day.
And during the Blue Plate Special hour, they've been running when most people are still working.
Just don't run me opposite of Jeopardy, 7:30 to 8. Keep us out of early fringe.
Got the Celtics doing well in the playoffs. Hope they won't put us up against that.
Yeah.
Hope they don't put us up against the Three Stooges.
Well, listen, I think you may have some connections over there. Make a phone call and see what you can come up with for us.
I don't know what connections I got in this town anymore, to be honest with you.
Hey, your star is shining bright in this room.
Right now and tell you who I could call, but I won't make that joke.
All right, well, we'll get right into the questions.
It has to do with what we were talking about off camera before we started. Maybe we got to have him call.
Well, listen, here's somebody who calls us quite a bit. Jason Thayer. God love Jason. Once again, reaching out to the mayor. Dear Mayor, your campaign promoted Bring Weymouth Back. So much so that word got out so strong.
I don't think I ever used that slogan.
Yeah, I don't recall the specific language. A lot of politicians have phrases. I don't remember you having one.
There are some people that want us to bring certain parts of Weymouth back to like the 1950s.
We're evolving.
I don't remember that statement, but I get the gist of what he means.
It's evolution, not revolution. Progress, here in the town. Well, he's saying even the Boston Motel returned as a kind of trying to make his point, the BOMO. I'm happy you're doing what you campaigned to do. Great job, sir. Thank you. There was a compliment in here for you. So,
is there a question?
No, there isn't a question. It's just a comment. And
but the reference to the Boston Motel seems a little snarky.
Maybe it's the nostalgia wave that you're referring to. Yeah. Any reference to the BOMO usually has a raised eyebrow or two, as I recall.
I could get in trouble for this, but the good news is Super 8 Motel is gone.
Well, listen.
The bad news is
the motels have been in the news lately. I don't know when this will actually air, as we were talking earlier, but certainly there was a shooting in the Braintree Motel 6. There was some hubbub at the motel. What's the name of the motel that's on Route 3A across from the old Harbor Light Mall?
The Arbor Inn.
The Arbor Inn, which we've talked about
Formerly
before.
the 3A Motel.
Yeah, we were hoping there was some good things cooking there for a while, but that was a tough moment for them.
Maybe he'll jump on the trend and rename that the 3A Motel.
And we'll go back to the, what the hell was the name of that mall? The Harbor Light, thank you. And we'll bring back the drive-in movie theater. Why wouldn't we?
I kind of miss the Harbor Light Mall.
Yeah, I miss it.
Yeah.
Thackeray's.
I grew up with that. Can you, not to get off subject, because I do want to make a point about that before you turn the page, but you mentioned Thackeray's. Can you name the other establishments that came subsequent to Thackeray's in that location?
Well, I didn't remember. That's when I was out of town. I was out of town. No, I can't.
How about Balcony Pub?
Oh, the Balcony. That's right.
How about Moustache Cafe?
I never walked through the door for the Moustache.
How about JR's?
Was it JR's too?
The guy that had Uncle Sam's opened up JR's there. How about Pasha Bar?
Whatever it was called, there was a good spot. That was a good spot.
Here's one that never opened. Palmer's. He was doing the work, and he stopped, and it became Pasha Bar. Palmer's, P-A-L-M-A-S. It was going to be a steakhouse.
If he
How
does.
about Bentley's?
Oh, was
They
it
were
Bentleys
there.
at one point too?
They
The
were
Quincy
there.
Bentleys?
And I think I'm probably leaving one other out.
Now I'm thinking this is probably a place you went to after the softball games. Is that where you predominantly hung out there?
No.
That wasn't
But I
a
do
go-to
have
place, huh?
fond memories when it was the Balcony Pub. I remember they booked Mark Morris and the Cat Tunes there on a regular basis. And Wednesday night was ladies' night before our changes.
He was a regular act down there, Mark Morris?
He was. And
Wow.
and he used to, I think he performed up on the balcony. It was pretty cool.
Jeez.
It was an interesting place. And Wednesday night was ladies' night. You would get, if you were a woman, you would get 2 drinks for the price of 1. So if you wanted a beer, you'd give a woman the money and she'd go up and order it.
I brought a wig and some lipstick.
And then Mike Dukakis put a screeching halt to that.
Happy hours, yeah. It's always interesting when you travel.
On a serious
people
note,
still
I
doing
don't
them.
want to get any hate mail about this making light of the motel situation, because it is a sensitive topic here in Weymouth.
Lack of rooms, correct?
Well, no, the
hubbub and all
Arbor Inn
that, yeah,
and
sure.
Super 8 now Bomo,
Yeah.
Boston Motel. There's a lot of
Activity.
not good activity.
Right.
So we have been working. We're not out there with a lot of bluster, but we've been working diligently to come up with some reuse plans and help those people transition away from that business model, which they would like to do. And there's some progress being made on both fronts. In one case, there have been some redevelopment plans floated, for one of them to us, and we've been trying to work with them to fine-tune that. What they've come in was good, but not great. And in the other instance of the other motel, we are working on rezoning that particular area, which will drive, we think, some redevelopment of that site. In fact, we will be having a meeting on the 31st of, and this might be aired right around this time, the 31st of, or it might even be after, I don't know, around the time, but the 31st of May, 2017, as this might make the archives later, right? We'll be hosting a meeting up in North Weymouth to talk about the zoning changes and some other North Weymouth issues.
So do they want to get out of the hotel business or motel business, or they
I don't want to
be
speak,
motel?
I don't want
Okay.
to speak for them, but I would say that their business model is not performing optimally now. In one instance, in the case of Super 8 Motel, they relied heavily on homeless placements from the state, and that has ended. So that's impacted them. So they are looking at alternatives.
So that's not a Section 8 place for folks these days?
No.
Okay. Well, same train, little different track. I remember about a year ago, it might have been a little longer, where the Ledger had a list of...
And by the way, North Weymouth, the North Weymouth location didn't take those, despite gossip and mythology, didn't take those kind of placements.
Section 8, but Weymouth was, I think, the number 8 town, a city in the state of Massachusetts for Section 8 housing.
It's number 8, for Section 8 vouchers in the state.
I was shocked.
It's not a distinction that is maybe the best, I don't know.
The list of cities was not one that we would like to be on. You know, it was interesting. So stay tuned, I guess, as that issue continues to develop. Okay, well, we've got another question here from a great South Weymouth resident, Matt Simmons. He says, "Hi, Mr. Mayor. Could you please provide an update on the Columbia Square traffic study? Are we looking at some kind of overhaul, or are there going to be some new traffic lines extended to manage the traffic flow?" Thanks, from Matt.
Good opportunity for an update on that. I know we've talked about it a lot in the past. We went through a consultant selection process. I did mention this in a previous show.
I know you talked about it. I forgot. Was it
Green.
rotary, a traffic light? What?
By way of background again, the town did a study in 2008 and then did nothing with it. We have dusted off the study. We're updating the study to bring it into 2017 models with everything that's changed since that time with Union Point, et cetera. We selected Green is the name of the firm out of North Shore. They're updating the study. They are working with us on a committee that was put together up there from residents and businesses that have been going through some of the options, and they working on their final report now, which they're close to coming out with. So you'll see, I would assume, a lot of news on that when that is unveiled. And yes, the basically three options were status quo, tweaking it somewhat, rotary, which was pretty much ruled out in 2008 or around about, and obviously signalization. And what I really liked about this firm when we went through the selection process was the examples where they have worked on traffic intersections before. There were a couple that were very similar to what we have in Columbian Square. The one that jumped out at me, if I recall, was Peabody Center. They went through a major overhaul there to address traffic problems there, and they did a pretty good job with it. So they really came in fact, in this room with their PowerPoint, kind of blew everybody away, and we're hoping the product they come out with and conclusions they arrive at, working in conjunction with the businesses and residents who have been put on this committee. They're working on this hand in hand with them in our planning department. Hopefully they come back with something that's going to work. I don't want my legacy to be, I'm the guy that screwed up Columbian Square even more than it is.
Listen, I want to take shots at you when it's appropriate.
The easy thing for me to do would be just leave the thing on the shelf and let it collect a little more dust, but we're trying to do the right thing.
I think one of the themes of the last couple of shows has been how the town's evolving, and there's been changes on a variety of different levels. But listen, you've only been in office for a year and a half, and like I said, I'll give you a kick in the pants when I think you need it. This is a pat on the back opportunity. Columbian Square's evolved dramatically. It looks like $1 million.
You go through that. You live up there. I don't live on that end of town. You have to contend with that place on a daily basis. You tell me. I mean, maybe you like the way it is.
Could that be managed differently?
I saw my first fist fight up there a week ago. My kid.
I'd like to apologize for that. I did.
No, I mean,
the guy cut me off.
It was outrageous. I mean, it was road rage, and one guy got out of the car.
Get out of here, right in the middle of the square?
They both got out of their cars. I was ready to dial WPD.
Or Danny Antonovich, one of the two.
He might have been one of the road rage guys. No.
Well, listen, talking about changes, positive changes in Columbian Square, the big news is the Cameo getting new seats. The Cameo looks like, oh my gosh.
I saw the newspaper article.
God, love that. The couple that owns it, and I mean,
it's very nice that the owners have invested in that.
Really something else. It's one of the gems of the South Shore, to say the least, and that's dynamite. That refurbishation is
You know
fantastic.
what's crazy? I had some business to attend to in downtown Hingham a couple months ago, and I couldn't get a parking spot in the middle of the day. And I had to go in to pick up some paperwork at a bank, and what's going on here? And they said, the movie theater. They've been running weekday.
Oh, the Loring.
At Loring, and I guess it's a big hit amongst retirees, and so I think there's hope for the Cameo.
Well, they got such a beautiful downtown area, and Columbian Square is looking, it's literally night and day.
I think there's a little rebirth where people like to go back to the old feel of the old theaters. And,
no two ways about it.
The novelty of what you experience in, AMC and these other places is maybe wearing off a little bit.
But the guy at the Cameo's doing the double whammy of not only refurbishing the theater, but he's keeping the price point of the tickets down low. He's still looking at that $5, $5.50.
Did he pop some fresh popcorn too?
I actually haven't. I've just been reading what I think we've all been seeing, this big story in the cover of the Weymouth News this week on the Ledger.
The popcorn's actually very good there.
If he brings back real butter, then we'll know we're in business.
I went to pick my kid up there, and I just grabbed some. I didn't see the movie, but I grabbed some popcorn while I was there. It was good.
The community theater in downtown Dedham offers real butter, and it's the only place on the South Shore that does. We want real butter.
I think the guy that owns that is a state rep.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he's a state rep, McMurtry.
Former Mass Biotech CEO Bobby Coughlin's old district.
Correct. He took the seat after he left.
Interesting. All right. Well, listen, we're in South Weymouth. Let's stay there. Questions come in from Wayne in South Weymouth.
I can't wait to get to the question that we had. Didn't you say a celebrity?
We have a celebrity inquiry. We're going to get to that right after this question, which is the inquiry is relative to the South Weymouth, the 02190 zip code. What's going on at Union Point turning into a car lot? Does the town get any revenue from this? Are these permits issued, or are we going to send these cars through Columbian Square to check the traffic count and boost a solution? So it's connected to our conversation.
Who is this from?
It's from Wayne Jenkins, and I presume he's in South Weymouth. I know that South Shore Hospital uses part of that for a parking lot, right?
Wayne gets an award because he is a step ahead of the Patriot Ledger and the Weymouth News. This has not really got out there yet. So I guess Wayne's got the scoop.
So what is going? So is he suggesting that there's a lot of that?
All right, this is breaking news, Jim. Breaking news.
Great.
So, under the zoning at Union Point, and not only L-Star...
Which is private property, right? Union
Correct.
Point is private.
So
yeah.
L-Star, and like L-Star, the developers before, Lennar and Starwood, obviously they have been doing things to bring in revenue on a short-term basis, whether it's, the movie set, renting out space for the movies, the driving schools that have been out there. So there's been you mentioned parking for social hospital. There's been all kinds of little short-term activities, and I found out literally the day before this process started that they had made arrangements to lease space to Volkswagen of America, Volkswagen North America, to warehouse cars that have been brought back in on the recall. And we checked our zoning, we checked what rights we had as a town on this, and it was a simple building permit issue. There was no zoning issues, no variance. And we also found out that the town's bylaws on commercial auto storage is non-existent.
Who would have thought there'd be a need for it?
Well, it's been ongoing with some other areas with social hospital, evidently. So we have a problem on another site. At the same time, well, let me go to the specifics of this. So we pretty much kind of had to issue the building permit, but we were able to put a lot of conditions on that. Timing of the operation, we limited the hours when the cars could come in. We were specific about what roadways they could use, and it was only a couple days in when I myself personally observed them violating the provisions in the permit. We have now a provision in there of $1,000 per fine per violation.
Yikes.
So the first fine issued was as a result of me being the witness.
Did you see the stream of cars going in, or was
No,
it
I
just
saw one truck
Yeah,
going in,
okay.
but it was a violation of the route that they're supposed to use. They're not supposed to be using Route 18.
So they'll be coming in off the Rockland Strip.
They would be coming in off Route 3, coming in the back way, yeah, using the other end of Patriot Parkway or the East-West Parkway, or the third name that it's used sometimes.
The Delahunt Parkway.
Something like that, yes. Which the process in which that was named for that was ridiculous by the old board, but one end of it's Patriot, one end of it's Delahunt, and the whole thing's east-west in my mind. But so we're monitoring it. It's a short-term thing, and interestingly enough, and I don't know how this works, but obviously there was an emissions issue with those Volkswagens that were recalled. Remember Volkswagen fudged their emission
Now that you bring it up.
criteria?
Yeah.
Well, evidently these cars are getting shipped off to South America.
So they're
So I
coming
guess-
here and then being sent to South America?
Eventually they'll be shipped to South America is what I'm told. And so I guess if the wind's blowing south to north, we get the emissions anyway, right?
So they won't have to repair the cars? They'll be able to sell them in South America?
I
perhaps?
don't know if
Yeah, who knows?
they may make some,
Yeah.
changes to the emission system, or I don't know what they do with it. But
A
that's
prog-
where ultimately they're going to end up.
How many cars were they talking about stored down there?
I saw a
mean,
picture of it yesterday. It's a pretty significant quantity of cars. We're talking in the thousands.
Geez, I haven't driven down there in
Well,
last
there's
month.
not. I don't know how many are there now. There's a few hundred, but I think it's going to be ultimately potentially in the thousands. So.
Boy, the things
Keen eye,
but the
good
things you can't plan for. I mean, why would the town need a commercial, as you said?
So the point I want to make too, as a result, we are now drafting some new, we have a meeting next week with the building department, town solicitor in this office. We are also trying to clear up some vagaries and some problems that I believe exist with our used car bylaw and our commercial car storage bylaw. I don't know if you know, but Weymouth has 32 used car lots permitted. Did you know that one?
Not in a million. If you ask me, I would say there's less than 6 in the town.
And there's been
Are they all active?
Yeah, and there's active licenses.
Jeez.
Do you know how many Hingham has?
None?
None. But what bothers me a little bit is how things have been interpreted in this town as to a license that can be given to a used car operator by right is considered an accessory use to an existing business, which I don't believe. I think we would be hard pressed to find another community in the state, quite frankly, that interprets things that way, and I'm not really in agreement with our building department on this, and we're going to get together and talk about it and possibly make some changes there as we look at the commercial car storage bylaw, which we do not have one. So.
Well, of course, call me naive, which I know you do from time to time. I wouldn't think if I owned that property at Union Point that I would need to talk to the town about, storing cars on that.
Well, you didn't
land.
from a zoning standpoint.
Yeah.
You didn't.
You didn't. Okay.
It's simply and it wasn't even Union Point. It was the operator of this operation that came in for the building permit.
Interesting. Well, these are all great questions as the mayor continues to comment on, and we want to encourage everybody to keep them coming. Please send them to askmayorbob@gmail.com. This is interesting that Wayne jumped ahead of the public outcry in with his question.
So he was ahead of the curve on the news. So obviously he may live down there or walk down there and seen these things starting to accumulate.
Interesting. Well, here's the aforementioned celebrity inquiry that we've referenced a couple times, and I don't know, we shouldn't make people guess who this is from. I'll reveal it at the end of the questions, because he says, Mayor, I'm an old rock and roll fan just like you. I attended the library event with Carter Allen. I saw you there. Well, you guys went down there.
I haven't seen it on WETC, and I had to leave early for school budget presentation that night, I think. But I did get to introduce Carter Allen, and I kind of took some liberty. And in the audience, I asked if they would like to hear my recollection of my top 6 concerts, and they did, and I had a lot of fun with that. And I guess Carter Allen gave me a shout out on ZLX the next day. But I looked at his book, and I don't want to brag here, but I think I could do a book just as well about some of my concert experiences. But I'm not on the air promoting it, on ZLX and able to promote it. I don't know how many people would want to buy it.
It's been about a full episode and a half since we've had a Jim Melody personal anecdote. And, I worked with Carter for a number of years.
Oh, can I just say this? Can I just say this?
Did you make a reference to me when you were talking to him?
The Jim Melody performance when he opened up for Jose Feliciano did not make my top 6. And by the way, Carter Allen's book is about 50 concerts. I didn't even have time to do a top 10. I limited it to a top 6. So, but your performance with Jose Feliciano did not make the cut.
Extremely disappointing. I just wanted to say very quickly about Carter.
I did like the twirl, the pirouette you did with the guitar. That was pretty cool.
I worked at PCN in its heyday when Lockwood was on in the morning. Carter was the music director, as a matter of fact. It was Bradley J. at midday and Perendo on in the afternoon. Carter was the nicest guy at the station, always has been. Just a real sweetheart of a guy.
Bradley J. I didn't like his persona. He was a little bit too off topic from the music, and he was trying to be too much Howard Stern.
Yeah, it was with Stern.
With the off-color racy stuff.
We were running Stern 7 to midnight, for those who recall. Stern used to be an overnight, so on the evening that
was the beginning of the end for WBCN, as I knew it as a kid.
Lockwood was not a nice guy. Very first day, he throws a cup of coffee on the ground and said, Charles Lockwood doesn't drink cold coffee. I'll never forget, he smashed a cup of coffee on the ground. Bradley J. was actually a super nice guy, to be honest with you, on air. Not everybody's the same. And Pareto was a heck of a nice guy, too.
Yeah, he was real nice.
Well, I know there became some issues, but and he passed away, a couple years ago.
Right.
But Carter was always a sweetheart. So, listen, the question from our celebrity inquisitor was, tell me, what was your very first album that you purchased when you were young? And drum roll, please. It's from Gonzo Ted Nugent.
What's the reference of the Carter Allen thing?
Well, he's an old rock and roll fan like you. I attended the library event with Carter and saw you there.
So
Ted may have been there. You may have seen him there.
Clearly someone that was there, but they're using an alias.
I'm going to presume. He was at the Trump White House. I think it was the same night.
Unless we have another person in Weymouth named Ted Nugent, which I doubt.
What was your first album that you bought when you were young, is the question.
Awesome question, and I can actually remember.
I know, I remember mine.
Well,
everybody's smiling out here. I think everybody does.
I tell you what, I bought 2 albums the same day, and I don't know which one I placed at the register first.
So this creates. Can I try to guess? Styx.
No. Actually, I didn't like Styx. Styx grew on me later.
You're a rock and roller. I'm just trying
But I didn't. Yeah, no, I wasn't Styx early.
Okay. So, drum roll, please. Your albums.
You should be able to get this.
I know you rock, man. I'm trying to. Is it Zeppelin?
No. So, you make that transition from listening to WRKO back in the day, and the
Dale Dorman.
transistor, and then I started getting into a little more heavier stuff, and I remember the record shop well too. They were like $3.99 and $4.99. Remember? And it was like $3.99 for a brand new album, and then $4.99. Whoa, that's a little expensive. The $3.99 I was looking for, but
So you went for the 8-track at $2.99.
no, I never did 8-tracks. I never did 8-tracks, but I did cassettes back then. Bought 2 albums the first time.
Quincy Center? Would you remember where the store was?
No, there was a thing in Lincoln Plaza over. Just over the Hingham line from North Weymouth.
Yeah.
There was a record shop there.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name, but I bought 2 albums. One was, and primarily the one I went there for, was Leonard Skinner, One More from the Road, double live album.
Oh, baby.
Blew me away.
Yeah, sure.
And they were the first band I ever saw live subsequent to that.
Wow.
Little
Put that in
later
the
on.
books.
And while I was there, I picked up Bachman Turner Overdrive's Greatest Hits.
I wouldn't have been able to guess that one.
Those guys rocked.
No, I liked them, but I wouldn't have.
People think of Taking Care of Business, but they got some heavy stuff, man. They rocked pretty good. Then I can actually think of 2, 3, 4, and 5. So then I was working in a gas station then, and WBZ FM 106.7 before it was Magic. They were playing this band. And I heard Running with the Devil and Jamie's Crying.
Oh, man.
Van Halen.
Now you're
What
on to
is
Jason
this?
Fair.
What is this? I was like scared. Ooh, they're talking about the devil.
Have you seen Junior's Grades?
And I wanted that album, and my grandmother, of all people, gives me Van Halen 1 for Christmas.
Oh, she's a hip granny.
I don't think she knew. I don't think she read. And then other early ones was like Foghat Live, pretty cool album. I'll think of some others, but those are early ones. How about you, Jim?
Well, just to demonstrate what I think.
James Taylor.
Dude, the greatest hits. So this is I'm Felix, he's Oscar. I mean, I'm Oscar, he's Felix. Well, listen.
Let me see. Number 2 was Joan Baez. Number 3 was
Jimmy Buffett.
Woody Guthrie.
Jimmy Buffett, Living and Dying in 3/4 time.
That was your second one?
Yeah, that was the second one. And I bought David Bromberg, Midnight on the Water. I bought all 3. A guy I worked with recommended them. I was working a summer job at the Quincy Courthouse. It was in downtown Quincy. But before we run out of time, which is about to happen very quickly, what was your top concert experience that you relate to car?
Oh my God, Leonard Skinner, Cape Cod Coliseum.
Oh man.
Pre-plane crash.
Outlaws Open?
No. I never remembered
Elvin
as a
Bishop?
kid. No, I never remembered as a kid who the opener was. I found out later. Grinder Switch.
Ooh.
Grinder Switch opened up. And then second concert might have been like Jay Giles' high school gymnasiums of Aryan Brothers.
Wow.
Blue Oyster Cult at the Music Hall during the Spectres tour with the lasers.
First concert, James Taylor live at Brockton High School. Who knows when? All right, listen, we've got to wrap this up. I know everybody now is officially asleep. That's what we're here for. I want to say thanks again on behalf of the mayor.
Stay tuned for the Movie Loft.
And remind everybody to send those questions to askmayorbob@gmail.com. Take care.
If you have a question, please email the mayor at askmayorbob@gmail.com. That's askmayorbob@gmail.com. Maybe your question will be answered on the next episode of Ask the Mayor.